You guys, I just got out of the shower. I feel all clean now and a little mellow. And, I don't know, and moisturized. Mhm. um, like in the last video, I talked about how I wanted to touch on mental health. So today I did go get an ADHD test and I saw my psychiatrist and actually met her in person for once. So I'm gonna the results are gonna come back for a few weeks, but do want to touch up. So I am diagnosed with a few different things. I know I mentioned it in one of my other videos. I think I forgot to. Sorry, my eyes itchy. But I think I mentioned it in a few of my other videos or my one of my videos that um I'm diagnosed with a few different things and I don't think I said I am diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and then PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, and depression. And with this journey, I think that's one thing that I've been really, really working on, and especially my depression and my anxiety. When I had my anxiety attacks, when they would get really bad, it felt like the world wasn't real. Um, the world wasn't real. I would feel paranoid and, feel like the world was against me and intrusive thoughts and things of that sort and be very fidgety. And, like I didn't even want to be touched by anything or anyone. Um, it was just, I was getting them so bad at one time that I was getting it like almost every day. Um, and there was nothing I could do about it because I didn't even know what was going on up until I let my psychiatrist know. And finally, I mean, I still get them, not as often, and especially recently since I've been feeling really good about myself and better and um like since April, like I've been in a better mindset, first of all. Second of all, like I'm just motivated to try to get through this. Um, it was a time where it was really bad though. And that's why I want to talk about this and, being bipolar and trying to get on, it took a while to get the right cocktail. Uh, you know, some people don't want to take medication. That was me initially. Um, but it really changed when I actually decided to go on it. And I'm glad I did. I'm on a few different things and I have PRNs, which is like taken as needed stuff, like when I get my anxiety. And it's really helped. I mean, I don't know like how we came to this. I thought, it was never going to work for me. And we finally got it down. And other than that, with being um bipolar, like, that was really a tough pill for me to swallow. I didn't understand it. I thought only, you know, that you're crazy if you had it. Um, it's like there's a stigma with it, and especially in the Filipino community, it's not mental health isn't really talked about. It's funny because they'll believe in folklore, like, manananggal, which is a half witch, half vampire, half body type of creature, but they won't believe in mental health. And I always thought that was weird. and it took some time for my parents to get used to the idea that I was seeing a psychiatrist and seeing a therapist. And, you know, they still kind of laugh about it, but they understand that I'm feeling better. Um, it's a lot of things. Like the mental health issue is, I feel like I'm happier that it's being more noticed today. Especially now that I'm recently got diagnosed with PTSD and, you know, because of some traumatic event that happened to me um in the past like few years. And, you know, that was a dark time in my life. And, the only thing that would like get me through was seeing Ellie and trying to do the best I could for her to make her happy. And, you know, but at one point it was really, really dark and I felt like I had no one to talk to. And I want people to know that, you know, if you need anyone, there's a lot of ways that you can try to talk to somebody or, get help for it. Um, it was really rough for me to even open up about it. And I'm being my most vulnerable right now. Like, I'm trying not to cry, but, it's very, it was very rough for me. And I think people need to know that you can be okay. You can get through it. It's possible. It's just I got myself in the right mindset now. Who knows if this is gonna last and if I'm, you know, gonna be keep being inspired and motivated. But at least I'm trying. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about, like, is mental health. It's a really big topic to me because, I went through it and, I'm with therapy, seeing my psychiatrist, a good support system. I'm getting through everything and I have the most wonderful family. I have the bestest friends that I could ever like. I don't know, I'm so thankful for because even a few of them had similar things going on and we were going through stuff together and we were there for each other. Think I don't know. I'm just so, I mean, maybe I'm just lucky because I know there's some people who are still going through it and they feel like they can't get through, but I'm telling you, you can. You just need to try and you need to get help, you know? Whether it's at church or finding, what helped me is I keep going back to this, but in April I was in the hospital and something just clicked in me and my mindset just changed where I said, I'm not gonna go through this anymore. I'm I'm gonna, try and live the best life that I can. And that's all I can do. Um, and this is one of the reasons I started this channel. I, it's very personal and I want to be as honest as possible because, there's some people who, they talk about it, but they don't talk about the whole thing. Like, um, my traumatic experience, I was living under a household and, I felt like I was the target and I was gaslit and, um, I was made to feel, little. And I'm out of that household now and I'm happier than ever. So there's a lot of things that factor into what I have. But, if you have any questions, I'll try to be as honest as possible. You can tell me, I'm gonna look at comments if I get them. You know, I know this is still early on and I'm still building this, but know that, you know, I look at them and maybe you can give me some tips of what got you through, or, you know, and let me know, like, what other things can I do to be more motivated and help myself. That's what I want, is I want people to go on this journey with me, and I want to be honest and just see and try things and see what works, you know? And so far for me, that was, you know, one thing is putting structure in my life. That really, really helped me. You can see I have like sticky notes and all that stuff hung up, and I have to-do lists. I set goals for myself. I have a vision board, vision book. You know, I set goals for myself, and I also see my therapist, and she's wonderful. I see her once a week. See my psychiatrist one to every 3 months, depending on what, if anything is new, or she wants to check up on me a little bit more. Um, you know, I want to let you know though that this this was an easy process. So for some it can be, and I don't know what their experience looks like, but for me it wasn't an easy process. It was, I had to work on it. And at first I I didn't know if I was going to go through with it. I just felt like I was at a high. Usually I go with my mood and everything. I would be really high but then slump down. But it's been since April and that hasn't happened. And I still get anxiety attacks every now and then. I get triggered when I see or have flashbacks or see certain people even. But the next day I feel fine, and I tell myself, um, I motivate myself and let myself know that you're gonna be okay, that, you know, that's behind you. You know, I don't know what anybody is going through. And this is one of the reasons um I'm trying to let people know, this is an important thing, like, to think about. And I've even, to get to this point with my mental health and be okay and feel better, I've even had to cut people out of my life, which is fine, you know? Sometimes you have to cut people out that aren't good for you, that are toxic, and that aren't good for you, for your mind. And, and then you can keep the ones that are there that make you happy, that make you feel good. But don't ever let anybody mess with your mental health or gaslight you, or, things of that sort. Because I've been through it and I let it go on for so long. And, you know, the people who I had to deal with that and the traumatic events, they don't take accountability, which is fine. I moved on, and this is my life now. I moved in with my aunt and I'm happier than ever. She just wanted me out of a toxic environment. You know, like, my relationships with everybody else is great now. Me and my daughter's father, are really good friends, and he sees a difference in me. I see even a difference in his mental health. Um, well, not his mental health, want to say that, but I see a difference in his mood. Um, I should correct myself. You know, it's sometimes life is just like that, but you have to try to move on. Try to move on, try to go forward, try to be positive. Oh. That's what I have to say. in this video. Just wanted to tell people, like, a little background about myself and what I'm trying to do to move forward. And, and hopefully you like this. If you have any comments, go ahead and write them. If, tell me what works for you, like I said. Okay, I'm going to go before this drags on any longer because I can talk about this all day. And maybe we'll do an update video in a few months about this and, let you know where I'm at. And we'll see. Thanks.